Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Well, breaking this morning, crews called to a camper fire overnight. This happened near 241st and Nebraska Avenue just before 3 o'clock this morning. Douglas County officials tell us the camper was vacant. We'll be sure to update you on this breaking news on air, online, and our First Alert 6 News app as soon as we know more.
All right, it's good to have you with us. 7 a.m. on our First Alert 6 streaming. I'm Erin Hartley.
I'm Cerise Cole, along with meteorologist Jared Lansford, senior chief meteorologist Rusty Lord, who's got a little snow to talk about this morning.
Yeah, I was saying melting mix yesterday. I got to say most of the mix is snow, but at least it's still melting as we expected. So that's good news. And we're not seeing any major issues out there right now, but a good coating on the grasses. And I tell you what, this shot here at 144th is indicative of what we are seeing over much of the area. We're looking at snow on the grassy surfaces, and we're looking at well, a decent amount of just wet pavement elsewhere otherwise. So right now, heavy coat, warm hat, umbrella, good idea to have. I said the umbrella just because the snow is going to be flying out there, and it might help keep you dry as you're heading out this morning. But notice 32 to about 34 over much of the area, just above 32. So that's good news. The pavement temperatures are pretty warm too, so that's helping out. And wider view shows it's warmer to the southeast and not incredibly cold to the northwest. So if anything is even treated, that's going to be a good temperature for that to work. Notice this stripe of snow, and the back edge of it's really starting to fall apart. So this is a very quick mover, and by no means tells you how the day is going to go. We have this stripe of snow that's heaviest now to the east and to the south of the metro. There it is through Atlantic, down towards Red Oak and Nebraska City. Notice how it really fallen apart back to the west, but there's still some snow showers there. And again, that's just the radar saying it's melting. It's falling the snow. Where is it melting on the way down? It's just creating wet roads for the most part, but this back here to the northwest is some lighter snow that's still trying to move through. So 7 to 8 to 9 o'clock, you'll notice by 9, most of it's out of here. I kept a small chance in through about 10 o'clock just in case there's a few flurries in the clouds, but watch from 9 to noon. There you go. Sun shines out, 30s, 40s, and sunshine. The stuff that's on the grass is going to melt by the end of the day today, and it will be mostly gone. By 3, we're up to 43. And we should top out about 47 today. Plenty warm enough to melt all that, and just a slow trickle down the gutters, down the streets, and it should help give the front yards a drink of water all the way today. And then again, maybe another shot on the way this weekend. So by 10 o'clock, we're in the 30s. As we progress through the overnight hours right into the early morning on Thursday, we start off in the 20s. So a cold start to tomorrow morning, but I think during the day today, everything should dry out. Snowfall potential, again, we've seen a couple places up near an inch of accumulation on the grassy surfaces, so it's maybe a little on the low side, but still it's not impacting hard surfaces, anything that's been warm, and the roads look like so far everything's going pretty smoothly. A north wind, though, this morning, gusts up near 35 miles per hour. Those gusts will be near 25 miles per hour later on today. So 3-day forecast goes 47 today, 70 on Thursday, and 47 on Friday. So you can see how things change up a little bit. A lot of ups and downs on the way. And overall, it looks like it's going to be a pretty topsy-turvy week. Anyway.
Yeah. And like you said, ups and downs a lot this week.
Yeah, it does look like that's going to continue probably into the weekend even. And overall, that weekend forecast has more of the same. Maybe not spiking quite as much on Thursday, but the big reason for the spike on Thursday will be that southwest wind gusting 40 to near 45 miles per hour on Thursday, late morning into the afternoon. So it's going to be a blustery one. Before this little batch of precip, the fire danger was worried about heading into tomorrow. We'll see how much it dries out. It could still be high fire danger, but it takes us up to 70 for that afternoon high. Then down to 47 on Friday, 63 on Saturday with the south wind back in play. Then late Saturday into Sunday, another batch of some wintry mix trying to move through on Sunday, 40 for the high there, 33 on Monday, and look at by the end of the 10-day forecast, back into the 70s. So please, we want you to watch, but pay attention because every day is so much different than the one prior to that. And you can see that here on the 10-day forecast. guys.
Yeah, got to watch just to know what to wear. All right, speaking of this wet precipitation we have this morning, we don't know if it's the cause, but there's already a crash out there this morning.
Yeah, we've been watching to make sure that things are moving smoothly as the morning's been going on, and that had been the case for the most part. Now we got a new crash that I need to first alert you to on I-80. Let's take a look at what we've got going on here. And this is on the bridge over 84th that you're looking at. If you look real closely here, you can see that it's the left shoulder where we have that in place. So you need to stay right, use some caution through this area. Briefly, you did look at things slowing down a fair bit, but looks like if you're staying in those right lanes, you're moving along in okay shape right now. So we're going to keep an eye on this situation, but that is the new crash that we have in place. Again, that's westbound I-80 right around 84th. And it is lining up with where I think we could have a few issues this morning is any of our ramps or bridges. Those are areas that do cool down a little bit more. And with some of that wet roads that are out there, that's where it could get slick. So keep that in mind as you're heading out and about. Otherwise, we are looking at just a few slow spots that have shown up. That's been occasionally the case on the JFK near I-80. Actually better right now than it was, but be ready for that possibility as you head into that stretch, as well as you make your way from the North Freeway to go to past Sorensen. You're looking at some delays as you're heading northbound in that stretch. Blair High right near 680, a few spots that are slow both directions, but particularly as you're going eastbound, you can see those delays stretch all the way back past State Street. So be ready for that as you're approaching 680 from the north. And then occasionally we've been looking at some issues in Miller that you can see Harrison a little bit slow as you get just to the east of 144th. Road conditions have been holding up in okay shape as far as how things have been moving, but you can see things moving along in decent shape right now. So just use a little extra caution as you get onto some of those ramps, overchanges for the wet conditions, and you should be in good shape for the morning drive.
That's good advice.
All right, Dara, thank you very much. On that note, we've been first alerting you all morning to the current road conditions.
Yeah, our Maria Kate is live right now for us in the storm tracker this morning. Maria, can you tell us where you are now?
Aaron and Therese, right now we are heading east on Cummings Street, and from the looks of it, you know, we're not getting any precipitation anymore at this point. Even the roads are fairly clear. There are some puddles, maybe when there's like potholes in the road, but from what we can see from our point of view, the roads are pretty dry, maybe a couple slick spots here and there. Yeah, as you can see, we're coming up on some puddles right here, but for the most part, it's looking pretty good out here. If you're looking out your window and you're sitting at home and you see the snow on the grass, yeah, you're gonna see that, but when you head out on the roads, it's not going to be any of that snow sticking to the ground. So yeah, here with Delaney, you can see it's a little bit more slick in this part of section of the road, but for the most part, everything is looking pretty good from our vantage point. So I guess it is just a word of caution for our viewers in western Iowa, so on the eastern part of our viewing area, who are currently getting that. Just make sure if you are heading out now, you take it slow, because the visibility was a little bit hard to see when that snow was really coming down at first. But for us here in the metro, we're looking pretty good. Back to you.
Marie Kate, thank you. Nebraska's emergency contract controversy, now a police investigation. State Auditor Mike Foley says he turned over his files weeks ago. Lincoln PD now leading this case. A January report from Foley accused Governor Jim Pillen of favoritism, saying he handpicked global sustainability developers for $2.5 million renewable energy contract. The report claimed that Pillen labeled the situation as emergency without explanation in order to avoid competitive bidding. LPD will report their findings to the Attorney General. Meantime, 50 college students in Omaha are helping the federal government, as we're now learning, track threats from Iran and all over the world.
That's right. They're part of a research center at UNO called Insight. Student researchers come from a variety of academic backgrounds. Current projects include tracking drone activity and monitoring court records in terrorism-related cases. They're even working alongside the Department of Homeland Security.
We're looking at how terrorist groups sponsored by Iran might be using drones, how they're using cyber attacks, and also how their propaganda might be trying to inspire people inside the United States to take up the cause.
This organization launched in 2020. It is federally funded through 2030. An update now to a First Alert 6 exclusive. The Omaha City Council votes to deny an appeal over the city's rejection of a city contract for tree trimming.
It was on behalf of Vinny Palermo Jr., the son of former City Council Vice President Vinny Palermo Sr. Now, Public Works said the service does not meet the intent of a responsible contractor, end quote. In the bid, it was the former councilman who was listed as the certified arborist in the lead role. Palermo spent 18 months in federal prison as part of a corruption scandal. The attorney for the tree service tells us they thought the decision was fair.
I think we're in a tough situation. The council faced some tough questions. Obviously, if Vinny Palermo Sr. is the one that's got to authorize compliance with federal law, they have an issue to be concerned about.
Well, the council did talk of having discussions in the future to find a way for Vinny's tree service to be considered for city contracts. Well, the Douglas County GOP says a Democratic candidate should not be on the ballot for sheriff.
That's right. The party alleges Mark Martinez is underqualified and cannot run for the position, but his campaign says that's false. According to state law, candidates for sheriff need to have a law enforcement officer's certificate or diploma issued by the Nebraska Commission on Law Enforcement. Martinez has that. However, the law does not specify if a candidate needs an active certificate. Douglas County Republican Party Chair Nancy Hicks says that's what they're challenging. Hicks cites another law passed in 2024 which ensures only certified and active law enforcement officers are eligible to appear on the ballot.
I guess our question is, why would you consider hiring somebody that is not current? Would you hire a lawyer or a doctor who didn't have up-to-date credentials?
Martinez's campaign says documents showing he is eligible were reviewed by the county elections office and that the Secretary of State's office also clarified Martinez is eligible. They say in part, quote, the law requires the candidate to have a law enforcement certificate or a diploma. Mark Martinez has both credentials. His qualifications for the position are beyond question. This challenge is a desperate attempt by the Republican Party to protect a weak incumbent, end quote. Douglas County Attorney Don Klein's office tells us they are looking into this challenge, and we are back after this.
All right, welcome back. The time now 7:16 early on this Wednesday morning. Back here at the Weather Center, we're talking about this falling snow turning into just water on the ground. It's melting snow. It's kind of a weird mixture. but it could be impacting the morning commute. But when does that start to be fizzling out?
Well, I tell you what, we are seeing in the last hour it break apart quite a bit already on radar. I still think there's chances till 10 o'clock, but what's happening is all the warmth that we've had on the over the last couple of days, the road temperatures are very warm, so this snow is falling, hitting the warm roads and melting. That's why you see it on the grass, but it's not sticking to the pavement. So that's good news. You can still drive around on wet roads, no problem there. 32 degrees north-northwest wind at 18 miles per hour. Feels like 20 at the moment. And the weather headlines show where we're going today. Snow before 10 a.m., the wet roads for the morning commute due to the melting. Windy days on the way today and even tomorrow, and then into the weekend. A lot of ups and downs. Watching a little more snow potential as well this weekend. Look at this really solid stripe that extends from Wisconsin through Iowa down into far southeast Nebraska. That is the crux of the snow right now, and anything behind it is really, really breaking apart quickly. So this is a fast mover. We had most of the worst of it here is between like 5 and 6 o'clock, and now we've seen things start to taper off quite a bit. A light little batch up around Wahoo and Fremont, Nebraska City, Shenandoah, Red Oak with the heaviest towards Auburn. There's another little stripe right there, and then back here to the northwest as well. This could be the last one moving through. So little breaks in between gives it a chance to melt off a little bit, and the rest of it here going to be pretty light from here on out. So 7 o'clock onward here, you'll see this snow slide to the east. There's that stripe by 9 o'clock moving southeast. Clouds clear out. So 30s, 40s, and sunshine should melt it off. There could be some shady spots, maybe something on the north-facing side of your house that doesn't melt off entirely today. Don't worry. Tomorrow's going to finish it off, no problem. So up to 47 for the high today. But winds today, strongest this morning, gusting over 30, near 25 miles per hour this afternoon out of the north-northwest. So you go to pick up the kids, sun's shining, it got 40s. It's just going to be a little bit windy, so keep that in mind as we get a good amount of melting done today. And you got an inch or less to melt off. Tomorrow, the winds are going to be the story. First alert to gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour after 9 o'clock. It is going to be a blustery day. Hopefully the moisture today helps out with the fire danger tomorrow, but we're going to go 70 for the high on Thursday, 47 on Friday. And then Saturday up to 63. This is a late chance of a little mix into some more mix on Sunday as well with a high of about 40. So 40s to 70s to 40s to 60s to 40s. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? That's a busy, busy stretch of weather there. And every morning, like you said it earlier, Cerise, it's really, really difficult to figure out what to wear as you head out the door. But take the coat today. You're going to need it a lot.
Yeah, you just got to watch every day. I do have a question about that Sunday snow. So how much can we expect? Is it going to be like today's?
Yeah, the way it's looking right now, we're kind of catch the south edge of it, and it doesn't amount to too much. Bigger snow Saturday into Sunday up to the north, but you can see that's rain Saturday night transitioning into snow. We just kind of catch the south edge of it on Sunday, the way things are looking. So that is what we'll keep watching. Not every model has it even that far south either. So that's worth noting. And let me show you the rest of the 10-day forecast here. And you can see models really going with some warmth by the end of next week. And it does look like that will continue beyond. So we could be talking 80s at some point just beyond the 10-day forecast. Wow. It's looking warm.
That's what I like.
All right, there you go.
Okay, let's get an update on the traffic conditions this morning. Some lights having some problems in Bellevue, Jarrett.
Yeah, and it's at a pretty heavily traveled area.
Oh, no.
It's not cycling properly is what the wording was in the notification. So you need to use some caution if you're going to be driving around Capehart and JFK. It's that interchange where we have the lights not working properly. Bellevue officials are aware. They're on the way to kind of help this situation out, but you want to use some caution as you're heading through that stretch that's in that area. So far, it doesn't look like we're seeing big delays, but it's just one that you want to treat with some caution, be ready for it to maybe slow you down a little bit. Of course, we're still watching that crash on I-80. This is westbound right around 84th, and we had this moving pretty well, and now we're starting to flare up some delays once again. It's on the left shoulder. You can see the emergency crews on the scene. You just make sure you're staying right, giving them room to work there, and heavy traffic traffic there. So you are looking at things getting a little congested. So be ready for things to be slow as you head through that stretch of I-80. Overall picture showing things aside from those two areas moving along in decent shape. A little slowdown on the JFK now starting to show up as you're getting a little past 370 northbound, and keep an eye on that as well. But just a little extra caution, not a bad idea this morning with the conditions being wet on the roads. Otherwise, you should be able to get where you need to go in pretty decent shape.
All right, Jared, thank you. Still to come, a great escape in slow motion.
Now, see how officers rounded up a very slow-moving suspect on the run when First Alert 6 streaming returns.
Well, a tortoise took advantage of some of Georgia's sunny weather this past weekend.
Now, the large reptile got out of its enclosure at an area high school and started to wander on Sunday, according to the local police department. Now, residents of the area spotted the tortoise. They called authorities. Oh, he is big. Police were eventually able to lift that tortoise and take it back to its home. Officers joked that his escape attempt resulted in an impromptu exercise workout.
I'm not staying in here.
Did they say that a high school has a tortoise?
Yeah, that's what I got out of that.
That's what I got. It escaped from an area high school.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what the script says.
I wonder if it's a mascot or something.
Maybe.
Okay. We didn't have one of those at my high school.
We didn't either.
Only in Georgia.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update on the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Wednesday.